Hello, hello. I just wanted to reintroduce myself. So, my name is Montina Myers Galloway. I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor located in Charlotte, North Carolina. And a part of maintaining licensure, we have to complete certain continuing education requirements. And so, I was doing a CEU the other day about postpartum depression. And what I learned, it kind of blew my mind. There was a section on mother-infant attachment, and I learned about mutual regulation. And so mutual regulation is basically a process that involves both the infant and the mother or caregiver developing the skills to know when their needs or intentions have been met. So an example of this would be, an infant cries, and in an ideal world, the mother or the caregiver would be emotionally sensitive enough to respond accordingly. And also in an ideal world, the actions taken by the mother would soothe the infant. So it's during this process of mutual regulation that the mother-child relationship develops, and it sets the course of development for future relationships for the infant. Now, let's just say, for example, the mother is depressed. A breakdown occurs in this mutual regulation process. So the training suggests that when that happens, or that can show itself in two ways: in intrusive interactions or withdrawal. So intrusive, just, that means handling the infant with anger or roughly. And in withdrawal, that means being disengaged. So this is what got me, though. The training went on to say that infants of intrusive mothers tend to adopt an angry or protective style of coping, which is used defensively in anticipation for the mother's behaviors, while infants of withdrawn mothers attempted to regulate their own emotional states. So I think this clicked for me because it made me wonder, is it the reason why it doesn't really occur to you to ask for help? The tendency to self-soothe probably was started very early on. And it might even be impacting your social relationships today. So I'm not asking you to remember what it was like when you were an infant. You definitely can't do that. But I'm also not saying that you need to ask your mother or your caregiver or your parents whether they were depressed when you were an infant or when you were born. But I would like you to consider that what you're experiencing now, it just did not start with this toxic relationship. It didn't just start with a bad job. We are all born into this world with certain basic needs. And sometimes those needs are not met. We don't get all that we need. I'm not sure if anybody has ever heard of the still face experiment, but that's a great example of it. Our children, when they're infants, look to us, our facial expressions, our body language, to regulate themselves. So give yourself some grace. Do your best to remain optimistic and objective about what it is that you're experiencing, and understand that you can learn new skills to regulate yourself, to ask for help. You don't always have to self-soothe. So I hope that was helpful. I had a light bulb moment that came on for me.